All right, welcome to our Sports Stream Day One Vendor Spotlight. JVC Professional, camcorders, PTZ cameras, workflow solutions with vMix and production systems, including now instant replay with an instant replay controller. Today we've got a special guest, Dan Skirpin, National Sales Manager Sports for JVC. Dan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to this.
Well, cool. Tell us a little about yourself and your role at JVC.
So my role with JVC is I'm the national sales manager for sports. We handle coaching video all the way up to the total integration of glass-to-glass production, all the way from our sports cameras all the way to our vMix solution, along with replay and streaming.
Cool. We're going to start talking about cameras. Now, you guys sell both PTZ cameras and camcorders. And I want to talk about first on PTZ and how will that fit in a sports workflow?
Yeah, so recently we have enabled or brought in a lot of different versions of our PTZ cameras, so we can hit our lower markets all the way up to our medium markets. We start off with our PZ100 camera. Our PZ100 camera is just a down and dirty PTZ camera that does follow and everything like that. And then we go into our PZ200s, our PZ400s, and now recently we have a new line, which is our PZ510 and our 540 cameras.
Now, the 510, 540, to me, those are really the ones built for sports. For me, for sports, I need 4K, I need 60p frame rate. That's sports, you need the high frame rate, especially we're going to talk about replay later. But these two cameras, to me, are really, I'm really excited about these because this is where you've really looked at where you are in the market and put cameras out that really have a lot of JVC kind of secret sauce in them and other stuff too. I like that you're NDI HX3, and I really love the fact that you've got a 40x zoom model, which, you know, for outdoor sports readers, that's crucial. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so what we ended up doing is that we wanted to go two different ways. One was the PZ510, and the reason for the 510 is our very, very wide shot. What's nice about that is for your commentary or anything like that, if you want to put it in front of them, and if you want to give it that overall global aspect view of the field and anything like that. That's what's awesome about the 510. The 540, what's nice about the 540, again, it's built on the same chipset and everything like that, so color matches and everything like that, but it does have a 40x zoom lens on it, which is really required for any sports production.
Now, you spoke about something color, and I want to jump on that a little bit because you guys are doing 4K and PTZ with these cameras, but you've also got UHD, which for me is so critical here that I think, you know, when COVID happened, we kind of 4K UHD was coming. We were all buying the nice TVs. We were all hearing about how much better sports was going to look on TV in UHD. And then, you know, COVID hit, boom, and all of a sudden there practically aren't any sports. With our sports, there's no one in the stadium. And HD all of a sudden becomes HD working beats the hell out of 4K. So 4K kind of went on hiatus, and a lot of the stuff that was 4K was actually upsampled 2K. I noticed last year in the football playoffs, I have DirecTV. So when all of a sudden it came, would you like to see the game in 4K? I went 4K. I was like, bam, I'm finally seeing the real UHD image. And I was blown away because I've always felt, going back to, let's say, 2018, 17, before the pandemic, that 4K to HD, I could barely tell the difference. But if you put UHD on a HD, it looked great. When you put it to 4K with the better color, all of a sudden, that's when everything really popped. And on sports, you can start to see blades of grass and sweat on guys' brow and stuff like that. I just felt that, you know, it really, the color is what lets our eye see the real more granular imagery actually than the pixels. So it's a real interesting thing, and I think it's amazing you guys have done this because you're really first in offering a wide angle and then a long shot camera that can be matched together that both have the same 4K resolution and UHD. So you're going to get a great color look if you integrate both those into your sports production. The truth of the matter is they both fit perfectly into sports. I know a lot of times what you'll do is with the 510, you'll put it like in front of the coach or something to get a response to the coach, or that's the one that's on the floor in front of the basketball team, what have you. And I just love that you have a 40X for that long throw. I'm not talking about that you're following a running back with this, but you can put this camera up in the stands now and get a much different look at the game based on what's going on. You can really zoom in when that's the best angle for the shot. So just compliments and kudos on those series, the 510 and the 540. And I really, to me, when I saw these, I was like, these are made for sports. JVC Pro gets it. So you've got some, you guys supplied some user studies, studies of actual usage of the PTZs, and you have some semi-pro sports. So tell me what you can about the study that you guys took, the case studies you've done.
Yeah, you pretty much hit it right on the head when you were talking about the UHD and where these cameras truly fit into sports. These cameras are designed for, again, interaction, everything like that through TV and everything like that. Really, really pop on the color. And again, like we were talking about earlier, they're not really designed to follow the running back or anything like that. They are designed to give you your certain shots that you can take to the production, just to increase and give the total aspect. So what we were doing here is that we actually did a little case study with Quintar, and what we were doing is that we were doing some sports, some basketball, what we were doing, and again, it was the customer interaction show is what we were trying to do, just to give them another extra streaming portion. And again, we were using the 510, and again, what it was able to accomplish was unbelievable, and something that we really haven't addressed is what we were being able to deliver in a very cost-effective manner. These cameras, I would put these cameras up to any of the cameras that are out there right now in the market, versus that are in the in the price range, anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 price ranges. The cameras are very, very sensitive in lighting and in the color. And the other thing that we were talking about was the ease of setup. So we're always tearing up, tearing down, tearing up, tearing down in the market. And with these cameras, once you set them and you use the same controllers and everything like that, they're very, very easy to set up. Does not take very much to do.
Yeah, that's important, because a lot of times if you're like a high school or college athletic team, you're taking your show on the road to the visiting team a lot of times. So we also did a case study with an ice arena. Talk to me about that one.
Yeah, so the ice arena was kind of nice as well, because we did do a mixture of our handheld cameras along with our PTZ cameras. Again, the PTZs were giving us like the glory shot and everything like that, and the crowd shots, and then our other cameras were doing our handhelds or our shuttle mount cameras. We're doing the follow like on the ice arena and everything like that. Again, what was very nice about it, you said it a little bit earlier with the JVC sauce, right? With the JVC sauce, we were able to color match some older technology with a newer technology, and you really couldn't see the difference in between the PTZ camera and the handheld camera. And what we were doing with that was, again, specifically for the hockey show, was we were able to mount the cameras up in the up in the rafters where people can't be, and giving us a better shot.
Now, one of the things, we talk about sports, and we're big on PTZ cameras here, but the bottom line is for the best possible sports cast, you need live cameramen. They're the guys who have the feel of the show. There's the guys who'll run down the sideline, or if they're on a tripod, they'll focus in for that really great tight shot when you need it. And I think the fact that you guys have cameras and camcorders that you talked about, use the same color space technology, can match together and look great together, that all shoot 4K UHD, I think it gives you a complete workflow solution. And I want to stress that you can do a whole sporting event with PTZ cameras, but it's not going to have the feel, and it's not going to get the emotion that you get from a cameraman really knowing his craft and getting in on that shot, that a PTZ camera that you realize, if I move 3 feet down, I'm going to get a great angle on this shot, and you got to be able to move on the field. And that's where your cameras come in so well. So let's talk about some of those cameras if we could. And the case study, your 500 series has been a go-to camera for over a decade now. If you really get to it, it's tried and true, shoulder or handheld or tripod, but it is a workhorse of a camera. And you guys actually did a great case study with the UFL. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so the UFL had let's back up. The UFL, what's nice about the UFL is that they don't have all of the rules and laws that you're not allowed to transport video and things like that. So what's nice about the UFL, the case study that we did, they were able to use it for production, and we were able to use it for coaches video, and we were able to use it for their stream and getting some video down to the field. What's nice about that 500 camera, again, it has the 40x zoom lens in HD. It has something that's called auto FTP. So if you want to send your footage to an auto FTP or an FTP site to be able to do some editing for coaching video, you can do that as well. We also added graphics for coaches video. So with the 500 series cameras, with the 500 SBC, you can actually add a scoreboard graphic. So it ties directly into the 500 or into the scoreboard graphics. The other thing that's awesome about it, shoots uncompressed 4K to a solid state drive. To anybody that's doing highlight reels or anything like that, uncompressed 4K is pretty awesome.
You know, and I think one of the things that you spoke about that I don't think we talk about enough on SportsStream is there's the actual production of the game, but using your same cameras and gear as a coaching tool for working with your team on the sideline. Think about this. You could have the wide angle camera to get the whole play, even on a football field, so you see what everyone's doing. But you can have that zoom camera up in the stands. So you can still have someone else in the AV squad following a specific play. So maybe you just want to work with the wide receivers. How are they doing on their routes and stuff? Or you want to make sure your basketball, you want to follow a particular basketball player. Is he making the progress that you want to see? And I think we need to focus that this investment that you're going to make as a high school or college sports team, or even a semi-pro sports team, is this same gear that you're using to produce your show is a fantastic tool for the coaching staff.
Absolutely. Something else that, and again, I'm not sure if we're going to talk about this or not, but we also added NDI capabilities to the 500 series cameras. What's nice about
NDI for us is a very big deal. We do NDI all the time with the NDI cameras. And just to remind people, because you brought up NDI is a way that you can connect all these cameras together using a standard Ethernet cable over your standard network. You can do PoE, so the PTT cameras can be powered. Not only do you get the camera signal back into your mixer, but you can also control the device over NDI. We're huge fans of NDI, and I think it's great that you mentioned that. So talk a little about the 500 having NDI, because that's a big deal. That's probably the highest end handheld camcorder with NDI in it on the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year, I believe, was when we introduced NDI HX to the 500 series camera. Now, for people, and again, I want to make sure I tell everybody this, just because you already have the 500 series cameras, you can send the cameras into JVC, and we can upgrade those cameras for a price to get NDI as well. Just so everybody's aware, I don't want everybody to think that, oh, we bought them 2 years ago, that we can't do it. But you can add NDI to the cameras. And again, the main reason for adding the NDI is, you already talked about it a little bit, was in regards to workflow, right? The high school sports. The high school sports, again, tear up, tear down all the time. How awesome is it to run one network cable to every one of the cameras, and then you're up and running onto an NDI workflow.
With JVC, using your NDI camera couldn't be easier. NDI features plug-and-play operation, connecting cameras such as our PTZs to your network with a single cable. Using NDI technology, our products come with maximum compatibility in mind. Whether it's the big game or the big meeting, JVC knows performance matters.
Yeah, and as this slide shows, you guys have got NDI, you've got SRT, RTMP, you're working with Wi-Fi. You've really built these cameras up to be into the modern workflows that have come out of the adoption of the pandemic. But really, you guys are taking it to the next level. We're going to get into those workflows a lot more when we get into devices, but I want to double back a little because I think I skipped a couple of case studies, so I want to go back. Yeah, let's talk about that you are actually doing the stadium video boards with Ultra HD, because that's part of sports too, right? The arena's loaded with those beautiful LED video walls, and you guys are sending signals straight to those also.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, with our case study that we were doing here, was we also have our vMix machines, right? Our switchers that are built in New Jersey. I had a couple customers come to me and they were like, hey, we have the opportunity to do the scoreboards, but now the school is asking us to do the full in-house production. we'll be able to do the full house induction. This is where it came into the glass to glass production. So what we were able to accomplish, and again, back in COVID days, everybody needed to start streaming. Well, so they were doing, so now our boxes can now do the vMix machine with getting the video feed up, again, Ultra HD up to the scoreboard features, with all your graphics and replay and everything like that, with our 500 cameras, NDI workflow into vMix. Then you have replay. Now you have streaming. Now you have in-house production. All those things all wrapped into one little system from JVC.
And now the 500 also does like scoreboards, graphics, and overlay. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so what's nice about the scoreboard, so what we were talking about here is our 500 SPC version of the camcorder. Yep. What this does, it actually interacts with a small box. We can actually interact with the in-house scoreboard graphics. And what that does is that the scoreboard will actually take the scoreboard data and bring it into our camera, and the graphics that you uploaded to your camera, we have built-in graphics, and then we can make them a little customizable with another software that we have that's for free. And then you can have everything up and running on the same network, and then you can have your scoreboard graphics. We have baseball, softball, any sport you really need, and it runs with your scoreboard in-house production.
That's fantastic. We hit this slide. So the connected cam, this is the overview of the 3 different models. If you could bring that up full screen for everyone, just take a look at what's on there and what they can do. I can't stress enough that you guys really did your research. You've been in this market for a while, but now what you've done is you guys have really optimized your workflows around sports. And I think that's so smart, not just because we're doing Sports Stream for this show, but I think it's an area that a lot of people feel they're priced out of. If you're doing sports with other people's cameras and other people's stuff, you might get into the tens of thousands of dollars. But really, as we're going to show later, for under $20K, we could put you in a system that's going to be, one of your vMix boxes, a couple of PTZs, a handheld camera, the 500 and other stuff. And that's real amazing how affordable you guys can do. But let's talk about these turnkey solutions, because they're a cornerstone to the affordability that I just mentioned. So the first one is the IP8S4. That's the original one. We started selling that one 2 years ago, guys, I think, or a year ago? A year ago, yeah. Talk about that one. That's your basic connected cam studio.
Yeah, so we had some customers contact us, and they were like, we really need to come out with a box, a switcher that is cost effective, that was able to handle 4 SDI feeds, 1 SDI or HDMI output. So that's what we came up with. Edgar Shane went in, did a little bit of digging, and he came up with this box here. We have it in a couple different versions of the KMIP 8. Yep. So we have the NDI only version. The NDI only version, again, has no SDI inputs, but it does have SDI and HDMI output. Then we have the other version, which is the one we're looking at right here, which is KMIP 8S4. That one there has NDI inputs, SRT inputs. It has 4 B and C SDI inputs. And again, if you look it up, you could also use some of the DisplayPort adapters as outputs as well. And then we also have and the other version is the vMix Pro. The vMix Pro gives you your 8 channels of replay. The regular KMIP 8S4 gives you 1 channel of replay.
And I love that you guys design your own vMix control surface, which we really love a lot, which, tactile, especially when you're doing sports, you want that feel to quickly go from shot to shot, or to bring in a graphic or run the replay, whatever you're doing. You like that being at your fingertips. And that's what that controller is all about. And at $749, I think it's the most affordable, feature-rich controller for vMix. So I'm going to say, even if you're already running vMix on your own system, you built your own, you rolled your own, this is a great controller to buy. And if you're looking to get the controller just with a couple of JVC cameras, fantastic. We've got that available for you as well. And now let's talk a little bit more about the LP100.
So the LP100, again, so we can talk about this slide here for 1 second. So what's nice about the LP100, you can do up to 100 cameras on IP control. You can do some camera shading, you can do all your presets and everything like that. And what's nice about that, again, really, really nice about that is that you can do 100 cameras, you can do 100 presets, different groups and everything like that. wide open capabilities of what you need to do with a PTZ controller. The RML, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's funny because people say, the small one has 5, isn't that enough? But when you really get into doing sports, the more cameras and camera angles you have, the better your sports production is. It's just that simple. If you have 3 cameras, you're going to be limited. If you have 6, 10, I don't know how you came up with 100. I mean, that's almost more than they have at the Super Bowl. But I guess it was, once it had the ability to light that second digit up, it lit it all the way up to 99. But I just think it's so cool that you have 2 different levels of controllers. But I always advise people, if you can, spring for the bigger, better one, because if you're doing sports, you're going to get to more than 5 PTZ cameras over time, I promise.
Yeah, so one thing I would like to tie into this, and again, what's nice about the RMLP 100, you can also do shading on the 500 camera if you're doing a handheld as well. So if you are doing your sports production, and again, you did it right on the head. If you have way more than, if you want to have room to grow, the RMLP 100 gives you almost an unlimited amount of cameras you can add. And again, including the 500 series cameras as well.
Now, you spoke about something that I think is very important. You talked about shading. And I just want to make sure for people, because this is the first day of the show, so we got some beginners here, but shading is the term that the broadcasters use for matching the color cameras so the cameras all look good. How important is that? To me, it's crucial. If you have 4 or 5 cameras and there's a field that's green and all of a sudden the field doesn't look the same green, or all of a sudden the team's shirts don't look the same color, that can be very problematic in sports. And it creates almost a jump cut kind of feel. And I'm just going to demonstrate when I turn back and forth. If you look at me right now, the purple on my shirt kind of changed a little bit when I changed from the cameras. And we shaded these as best we could, but we're using a green screen. So we've got some spill issues going on. But being able to shade that 500 in a sport to match both the PTZ cameras outdoors on a field just makes your production, it becomes that much more broadcast, from 10 to 11. And I think, the JVC, that you're using the same color technology in all these products, the 4K HDR, I just think it really gives you guys a leg up on other camcorder PTZ camera manufacturers. And now let's jump into your big boy, the new IP12S, which now you're really taking your game, what I like to say, to 11, because you're adding, to me, one of the most important features that's needed if you're going to be doing sports, and that's instant replay. So talk about this puppy a little bit.
Yeah, this is something I'm actually really, really proud of. What's awesome about this box, there's a couple different things. Number one, it's liquid cooled. So if you have it in a press box or anything like that where it's not climate controlled, the liquid cooling is amazing. Number two, it has your solid state drives that you can see on the front of it. Those are all hot swappable. So if you were doing any kind of, again, we were talking about replay. Replay takes a lot of storage. So you don't want to save it on the hard drive, or you want to sneaker net it, you can do it in solid state drives. It also has USB 3.0s. It has Gen 2 ports, digital audio. It comes in a 4RU rack case that's durable for if you want to put it in a flight case or in an equipment rack. Very durable. Moving around. It has 8 SDI inputs. Now, what's nice about this is that 4 of them can be the 12G SDI, and the other 4 can be regular 3G. It also has 3 separate NIC cards built into it. Not to get too much into that, but what's nice about that is if you are doing internet on one, you're doing Dante audio capabilities on the other, and you're doing NDI video. What's nice about that is it keeps all 3 of those separate, so you don't have any crosstalks going across it. The other thing that I really, really like about it is our video card. The video card that's in that is a monster video card, enabling for us to handle the 12G. So all your capabilities of all your graphics and everything like that are unbelievable. Also, since vMix added with some of the later updates, now you can actually have 4 dedicated outputs out of vMix as well. And what's nice about that is that you can feed you can feed your control room with all your like your multi-viewer, replay, or anything like that in different monitors. Then you can also take some other outputs to feed your in-house production. You can feed it to a truck if you needed to feed it to a truck. And then also, don't forget about streaming. You can stream to 3 different places at the same time. Again, it is our flagship switcher. We've had it installed. I think I want to say we released it at NAB and at Infocom, and we started shipping it in June, and this will be the first year for it in a lot of high school sports.
So let's talk about some of the bells and whistles that this puppy hits for sports. Number one, 4K UHD, multiple SDI inputs and outputs, HDMI also. You got the SSD, so you have virtually unlimited storage for instant replays for your show. Just put more drives in. It's when you first had liquid cooled, I couldn't understand, but then I realized, well, a lot of people are putting this in a very tight little room that might be on top of the stands or whatever, the little studio. Or I even know that some schools are planning on putting it in like a jumper van so that they can, set up a whole little mobile studio going. So you need it to be quiet. So it's not liquid cooled so much for the heat, but it also means your fans can go much slower. So it can be a much more quiet box, and it really is quiet. And then let's talk about instant replay, because to me, that's the thing that really, like I said, I'm not even going to say, I use that line all the time. We're going to take it from 10, mine has 11. But I think this instant replay is taking it to 15 or even 20. So let's talk about that and the replay controller, because just kudos, guys. You guys knocked this out of the park with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we did, so again, we were doing, we wanted to make a total package production switcher, right? So what we had RML 350, which is the normal control surface. But then we released the RMLP 450. What's nice about the 450 is that within vMix Pro, you have 8 channels of slow-mo replay. And what this does for you is able to actually have a control surface and sitting in front of someone that actually is handling all of the replay. You can actually you can set up your shots. You can actually, with the T-bar that's on front of it, you can actually gradually do the slow motion for it, or you have the presets, the 25 all the way up to 100 for speed. Then you have your little your up top, you have your little sorting areas where you want to sort like your highlight reels and things like that. You can do that. You have your jog controller with your 2 different speeds on the outside. The center button does your submit the last for if you're a single person doing things. You can hit the center button and it brings up the replay and transitions in, transitions out. Along with the record button and the first in, first out. What's nice about this, again, from JVC, these are completely programmed for the way that we see that you can do production. Not saying so out of the box, you'll be able to hook them up and you'll be able to control replay. Then you can actually, if you wanted to, once you get a little bit more into it and you realize that there's some things that you want to be able to do, it's completely programmable with your shortcuts and your activators. And it's very, very small.
I was going to say kudos to JVC on this, because you guys are understanding that these products are used often in education facilities by kids themselves to set up, or a teacher who's been doing it for just a year or so. It's not trained professionals in the broadcast industry. So what's so important about that? It comes out of the box ready to do a show that you can then reverse engineer and customize as you want, but you don't have to learn how to create a show. And all the other replay products and even the mixers we sell in the industry, unfortunately, assume that you know what you're doing when you start. And I don't want to belittle the people using this, but just the fact that it comes out of the box with a workflow that works for instant replay, that you don't have to worry about programming stuff, to me, I'm giving that like a double thumbs up, buddy. I think that's just so smart. And I thank you guys for understanding who the actual user and operator of this gear is intended to be, because that's one of the things that I think that a lot of people need to realize also with your decision to go with vMix. You can download trial versions or inexpensive versions of vMix. So if you've got a classroom full of kids, you could teach 5 or 6 kids how to use vMix on laptops just to get the feel of it. And then they can graduate to being the person who gets to use it in the real production environment. It's not like you have to have a $10,000 machine on each kid's desk. And I love vMix for education for that very reason. I also love the fact that you guys said, we see the Pro, they added 8 levels of replay. We're going to build a box that will not choke on that, that's going to maximize it. And we're going to go one better. We're going to design our own controller that out of the box, you could do 8 channels of instant replay. So kudos, double thumbs up. Can't say it enough. I think it's a home run. Going to go back a slide because I think I skipped it just so people can see the back panel. Nope, we're good. All right. So now we're up to like the conclusion wrap-up section of the show. And I want to know, will sports productions benefit from these products? Which is, I guess, a softball for you at this point. I mean, just knock this one out of the park. Break through the line of scrimmage and scamper for 95 yards. But take it away.
Yeah. So I mean, again, we kind of hit it right on the head with everything. So what's the main thing about this? Number one is you're going to get a high quality performance out of the cameras, the video, the switching capabilities, everything all in one for a very, very cost effective means. The other thing that's awesome about this is the support that's behind it, right? One brand is handling everything that you're seeing on this slide right now. So how many times have you called or somebody said, hey, we're doing a production and something happened or something, we can't do this. So, how many different phone numbers are you going to go do and everything like that? JVC can help you besides your dealers.
That's the kind, I guess it's helpful that you guys are starting smaller on this, that your support can scale with that, but you have the whole JVC professional service team available to people, but you've also got the guys who really made this whole thing possible to get on the phone. We've spoken to customers who say, I was having problems with this setting or this, or I messed my thing up, and we got them on the phone with you guys. Turned out to be Edgar. 15 minutes later, the guy was back up and running. So kudos to that. It's U.S.-based support out of actually good old New Jersey, down the turnpike from us here. But it's just amazing that, we kind of forget how important that is. But I just want to say, look at this graphic. We can bring it up again. If you're going to do a football game, you can get everything you need from JVC. You can get the PTZ cameras, long throw, and the wide angle. You can get the over-the-shoulder 500s. You can get the JVC Connect box with vMix for the instant replay. You can get your controller for vMix. You can get your controller for your instant replay. You can do everything. The only thing that's missing is you can't get from JVC is your switch. And we really recommend, if you're going to go NDI, that you get yourself a Netgear AV switch, because those switches are our number one NDI solution. They're also our number one NDI tech support solution. So if you need any of that stuff, give us a call. We'll be happy to get on the phone with you. You'll describe the sport you're going to shoot. We'll work out the whole thing with you. We'll bring in the guys at JVC if we need to, but we could get into a complete system with literally everything you need to be doing a football game, a baseball game, soccer, indoor, basketball, hockey, you name it. These guys have you covered because they've really designed this over the last year really to be sports workflows. And again, it's the Sports Stream show, so it's perfect on that. But I mean, kudos on you guys because you really hit the key points that I feel are necessary for sports production. So have you had any real installations of someone doing a football, stadium with, 5 or 6 or 10 cameras, the vMix, the replay, the whole shooting match?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have them all over the country right now. We have multiple high schools doing them across the country, along with some universities, some smaller universities that needed to, basketball, football, the whole ball and wax. But yes, we have a bunch of them out in the market right now, out in the field. The KMIP 8, again, we talked about this, has been out for a year and a half. So we're going into the second seasons with that right now. And then the KMIP 12, we have 4 installations right now where, again, we talked about this a little bit, has the Dante and all that stuff built into it and everything, not built into it, but you can add to it. But the capabilities of all of that, yes. But we actually have some ESPN productions that are going on right now with the vMix with our switchers. But again, all over the country right now, we probably have a total of 20 or 30 installations right now.
That's just awesome. And Dan, I know this was your first webinar with us, but I think you scored a touchdown. So we're giving you the touchdown sign. Great job on that. And fantastic. Welcome to be on the show. What we like to do is when we have a guest on the show, I like to always give that guest, the last word to talk about anything that they went over on the show, or a favorite hobby, your favorite sport. I don't care what it is, but the floor is yours.
Oh, I appreciate it. First of all, thank you. I've been in the sports market for many, many years, all the way down from being a camera guy. I built the first, production truck for ESPN in regards to HD. And again, something that I love, I'm passionate about sports. I'm passionate about sports production. It's something that I enjoy and I love. And it's hard for me, not to enjoy football when I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Steelers are, one of the best franchises, if not the best franchise in the country.
All right. So when it comes to college football, OH, baby. So
no.
great show. Thank you so much for being on it. Sports Stream. We got a couple more days left of Sports Stream. I really love your passion. We've got a passion for sports, which is why we put together Sports Stream. But also, it's clear that the passion for sports runs deep in JVC Professional. You guys always have, like I said, the 500 series camera has been on sidelines going back over a decade. Thank you for being on the show. Great show. I want to remind everyone that they can catch Sports Stream tomorrow and the following day. And then at the end of it, we're going to do some raffling off some prizes and cool stuff like that. So, Dan, thank you so much. This is Gary for Sports Stream. Have a good one. We're number one.